Gentlemen, can you give a round of applause and welcome Moses to the stage, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you.
Y'all can do better than that. Clap for him.
Well, I'm, just to give you guys a little background, I've done a lot of speaking. So I've done a lot of, spoken in front of a lot of people, but I've never been this nervous in my life. Why? Because this is something that I've never stepped into before. You know, I really want to say thank you to everybody that went up, because I'm literally learning scripture as you guys are explaining. And I can tell you guys, I don't know much about scripture. That's why I'm doing this today. So I probably won't be able to express scripture like you guys. You know, eventually I will, but not today. So I'll do my best, because that's what I do, and hope that you guys can pick something up and really expand from that. So excited to be here, because this sermon, at least for me, spoke to me before I even knew I was going to speak in front of people about, or even sermoning with people, because my wife signed me up for this, and I came for her, and I thought she was going to be up here. And last week they were picking, and they just picked my name, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm up here now. So like I said, prior to coming out, the message was already being, presented by God. I'm a pretty outspoken guy. I share what I mean. I share my truth, and I shared the truth on one of the platforms, and it got a lot of attention, and it got a lot of backlash, like the pastor talked about, a lot of, opposition. But it taught me so much, and I was just going to do the scripture that we were going to do last week, the one that we worked on together. I was like, I'll just do this one. I mean, we already worked on it. It's already done for me. All right. But as I was doing this, I was like, no, I can't do that. I need to find something that really speaks truth to me, So the only scripture that I know that I was like, well, truth, right, was this one, which is John 8:32, which is, well, you know the truth, and the truth will set you what? Free. So that's the only scripture that I know that I was like, well, I guess I could speak about this. But as I was preparing for this scripture, it's like, let me focus on the truth. And I feel like a lot of us focus on the truth, right? And we know that the truth is what? The truth is God. The truth is love. The truth is what leads us. And we have the truth in the Bible. We have the truth outline of how we need to live life, right? But the phrase that really got me as I was doing this, this sermon, was the first part, which is, the truth. And that to me actually spoke to me so much deeper than the truth itself. So, but before we can experience freedom, we got to be able to understand the truth. So, if and Romans 2:15 says, and again, I don't know scripture, so I started searching, right? And so 2:15 says, it is written on your heart. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, we know the truth. It is written in my heart. That means that God already gave that to us. That's like the gift, right? God gives you the truth, and that's in you. But why is it that we can't allow the truth to speak then? Why is it that the truth gets skewed? It's because obviously the filters that we're wearing, the goggles that we're wearing with life, with social media, the constant pressure of success, money, all the things that we have to do as individuals and human beings. I'm a father of two, my wife, I'm a husband. I've been married for 15 years. There's a lot of pressure in that. I'm an entrepreneur, I run a business. There's a lot of pressure in that. I got two beautiful daughters who constantly look at me. And there's a lot of pressure in that. As a man, there's a lot of pressure in that to be a man, to be a provider, right? And there's a lot of goggles, a lot of things that we wear that does not allow us to see the truth, or allows us to take the truth. And for me, that's God speaking to my truth. And it gets skewed because of the goggles or the lenses that I wear, the identities that some of you guys spoke about, right? And now we get this truth. It's like, oh, I can't do that. I can't follow that, even though God's speaking the truth in your heart, right? So that's where I'm at. And I'll be very vulnerable with you guys. That's where I'm at this very moment, standing up here. I'm in this crossroad of truth. Because again, I can speak, I can talk, I can train, develop, right? But this up here, this is like truth. This up here is truth that I know, like I told you guys, is written in my heart. I know the truth. Does that make sense? I know the truth, but for years, I've been avoiding the truth. For years, the truth has been filtered. Because I'm scared. I'm scared of what? The tremendous amount of accountability that comes with that. Sometimes we're scared to step into things because we're fearful of the things that come with that. Yes or no? Yeah. Yes. For me, money was my main thing. I needed to make money. I came from a lot of things. I came from a loving family, but money was needed in my family. Yeah. So that was my main goal, money, right? So, but I also was scared of making money, right? Entrepreneurs were scared of making money too, because we also know what comes with that. And if you're lost in your identities, if you don't know where you need to be going, if your truth is skewed, what's going to happen? Yeah. Right? Identity is shift, right? So the level of accountability that comes with that. So we have to find I call it freeing truth. Truth that's going to free us. And Corinthians 3:17 says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Right? There's freedom. So if God is everywhere and God is everything, that means that God is everywhere. That means that the accountability levels are super high. So that means that God is watching me at all times. When I'm by myself, when I'm with my kids, when I'm with my wife, when I'm working, he's constantly watching. So the accountability is really where it's at. And accountability, we find it in the scripture. We find it in our mentors. We find it in the people that we're surrounded by, because God is everything. Yes? So, and we're constantly reminded about this, which leads me to the next truth, which is the loving truth. Jesus spoke loving truth. That's the only place he spoke from. And he himself got opposition, right? So speaking the truth, is one of the biggest things for me, at least, that I've been working on is saying, hey, can we speak truth, but can we come from a place of love? Because when it comes from a place of love, when you're grounded in love, right, then it's received. Even if it's a position against your opinion or your thought, but if you can come from that place of love, it will still be received. Now, it doesn't mean that it's always received, but at least it will help initiate and transform people, right? And which brings me to my last point, which is, it takes you to the next one, which is courageous truth now. And the courageous truth is because if you're willing to speak truth, and all of us right now are here mastering or working on this sermon, right? Mastering our sermon skills. Are you going to be willing to really create and speak the real truth? Because now, if you're speaking truth, you got to live the truth. Yes. Right? You got to live truth. And now when you live truth, now the accountability is extra high. So now the courageous and the strength is needed for this level. So my question to you is this something that you really want to do, is speak truth and live truth, right? Because when you do that, freedom is experienced in every single moment of your life when you can live by the truth. So thank you.